Hello, my crafty friends. Today I'm working along with Sue Hiles in Psalms 46, and we're doing verses 8 and 9 today. And I'm reading out of the New English Bible, and it says, "Come and see what the Lord has done, the devastation he has brought upon the earth. From end to end of the earth he stamps out war. He breaks the bow, he snaps the spear, and he burns the shield in the fire." Um, I was looking at some commentaries on this and trying to think about what does it mean. One version said, "Come behold the works of the Lord, what desolations He has brought on the earth," and that doesn't sound like a good thing to us. Des- Desolation or devastation um, doesn't sound like it would be a good thing. But one commentary says that they thought it should have read, "Behold what wonders he brings upon the earth." Um, in other words, he delivered Israel from perils that there's no other way they could have won, because the people they were fighting against were so much. Excuse me, just a moment. Sorry about that. The people that were coming up against them were stronger and more numerous, and over and over throughout the Old Testament. Especially on the way from Egypt to till they get to the Promised Land. God, He miraculously helped them win in times when there was no way they could have on their own. And that over and over, this happened. And that when He says, "Come and see what the Lord has done," and He's saying, look, God did this. He took care of us. And He stamps out war. When people want to fight and God doesn't want them to fight, He can take care of it. He breaks the bow and snaps the spear. It says He burns the shield in the fire. And one translation says He burns the chariot in the fire. And I was reading about, in one of the commentaries was talking about how the foot soldiers, they feared the men on horseback, but they feared the chariots the most. Um, and they could hear them coming. You could hear those chariots rumbling over the land, and the horses and the wheels and all that, and it was such a loud noise that it was much scarier. And so it's saying God burns those chariots. They're not going to come against you anymore. um so it's really verses about hope, about God taking care of you, and about the fact that all those strong countries that fight against you, um they're not as strong as God is, and you just need to trust Him. And every time the people of Israel would trust God, He would take care of them. And then they would start wanting to go their own way and quit trusting Him, and that's when they got into trouble. um I did go ahead and write those verses out before I got here, because I have trouble writing and talking. So I went ahead and wrote them out. I was trying to decide what I was gonna do for my background, and um, I loved what Mary did on hers. The Mariotier, she did these verses, posted it earlier today, and she had great paper that she had jelly printed with stars on it, and it was wonderful. And Sue, who I'm following, she Mary's following her too. We're both following her as we do this. And Sue had put painted gold, and I really loved both of those pages. But I decided I'm going to put down some of this. And I know that these verses are, they're in the Old Testament, and but the people in the Old Testament were waiting for Jesus. They were looking for him. And so he's still their hope. And he's still where our hope comes from. And the God of the Israelites is the same God who can stamp out wars now if we trust him enough. I'm just cutting out a piece of this to this is a pretty heavyweight tissue paper. I got at Hobby Lobby. I really like it, but it's not as lightweight as what I was expecting. Most tissue paper, you know, for gift wrapping is, and that's what this is for. It was in the gift wrap section. Most of it's a lot thinner than this. This is pretty sturdy paper, so I was kind of surprised by that, but that's okay. It's not like we're trying to show something from underneath it anyway. So I'm going to put down some glue and just glue that on for my background. And I just thinned some Elmer's glue all with some water, because that's what I've got right now. I don't have any Mod Podge or matte medium or any of those things right now, so this is what I'm using. Oh, I just barely missed the top of the page. Let me see if I can pull that up and try again here. I want to go all the way to the top. Okay, there we go. Now I know I went to the top. And I've got some air bubbles in here, so it's going to take me a minute to try to work them out. Okay, let's see if we can lay that out smoothly. Now I'm hoping that I didn't get too much glue on the back, so I can just go ahead and trim it off. I think I'm gonna let that set a little bit longer before I do that. Okay. But I think that's going to be a nice background. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of well, I would like to leave both of those words on there, but I can't do that. So we're going to, I think hope is the main message here. So we're going to leave hope in there and put these down. Don't like covering up the cross either, but I'm going to have to either way. So we know it's there. We know the cross is the underpinning of everything we do. So that's everything in the Old Testament was leading up to that point. So Okay, we're going to let that kind of hold those down a minute. Now I've got some stickers that I thought might look nice on here. I don't know if I'm going to use them or not, but I thought I might. I also got some stamps that I thought we might use. But everything, I do have some brown somewhere. Ink. I was thinking everything is brown, and here I would be putting black birds on there. So I probably won't end up using those. I never know when I start pulling stuff out what's actually going to end up on the page and what's not. I also like these flowers. I don't know why, but flowers always make me think of peace, and when, when the wars cease, when God stamps out war, then that brings peace. And so peace is what we want. There's also some stickers I thought we could use on here. I really like that one, and I think the colors of it go really well with this page. So let's just go ahead and put him on here. I think that's pretty. And let's see what else we can find that'll look good on here. These are really dimensional, and I like them, but it's a pretty puffy book already. We're just a few verses into it, so. I think I really like some of these. The thing I don't like about them is kind of like this bird. They have a layer of white around them. Let me see if I can zoom in a little more. And I don't really like that white outline, which makes me like these better, because these don't have that. And these just are Dollar Tree stickers, but I really love that about them. I do want to go ahead and when I saw this, and it made me think of in that one commentary when it should say, "Come see the wonders" instead of the desolation. And those two words just are so, or devastation in this version, are just so far apart. But I want to remember that that is a possible, a possible thought that was going on here, because, God was into that war and protected his people. Um, and so for them, the devastation was wonders. It was a wonderful thing that the Lord was taking care of them like that. So I'm going to put that there, and I think I want to put some more. I'm going to do some of these flowers, because there's some of these have the same kind of colors in them, and I just really like them. I like this one. I wonder if I put it. Let's put it right there. And let's go ahead and put this other little butterfly maybe up here. I do want to kind of unify the page. So let's just put this down here. Got one bird in there. Let's go ahead and we're going to really mix things up here with all these different kinds of stickers, but I like the play of colors going, on both pages. That's okay. I think that's all of that I want to do. I do want to put this on here. It says, with God, all things are possible. And sometimes it feels like when there's war and that kind of thing going on, that it's impossible, that it'll never be over. But it will be. Someday it will be over. Okay, let's see if that's... I think I put that a little bit too low. Okay. I'm going to add this one too up here. It says, I will call on him as long as I live. Well, let's just put it right there. Because when you're in trouble, you want a God who can stamp out war. Okay. Oh, I lost my... I'm always doing this. There it is. When you use this kind of glue, and I love this kind of glue, you have to keep up that pen because it's a stainless steel pen and it won't rust. And other kind of pens you stick in there would rust. But I love this art glitter glue. I use it for just about everything when it comes to gluing stuff down. Now, things you use matte medium for, I don't use it for, but gluing down embellishments, I love it for that. I'm just trimming off the rest of this. I can only cut from one direction very well, so we're gonna always move everything around until I can cut from this direction. Well, that didn't get very good there. It's not easy. I'm sorry I'm taking so long to try and cut this out. It's just... Okay. There we go. It's a pretty simple page, but I like it. We've got to keep hope, because with God, all things are possible. Hope you have a great evening, and God bless you. We'll see you next week when we go on to do the last two verses of this psalm. Bye-bye.